Good afternoon, I'm Andy from almostoffgrid.com, and today I'm going to take you through making cider and sage infused roasted chicken on the Weber Deluxe Poultry Roaster. First thing to do is to light the barbecue, and then I'll pop indoors and prepare the chicken and show you how to do that. Just a few things. As I've said before, I use a Weber chimney starter and I use Weber briquettes. They are better than anything you'll buy in any supermarket. Do yourself a favour and stop buying briquettes in supermarkets. Anyway, I'll light the chimney starter before everything blows away and we'll get barbecuing. So the barbecue's lit, or the charcoal's lit, the barbecue's getting ready, and now we're going to prep the chicken and get it ready to put onto the Deluxe Poultry Roaster and then get it onto the barbecue. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to rub the bird with olive oil. Any vegetable oil would be fine. Massage it in to the bird, like so. So that all the skin is effectively covered with oil. Now we're going to use the infusion part of the poultry roaster, and for that we're going to pop some homemade cider in till that's full. Or just about full, because I've got to add sage. Then I'm going to take about a handful of sage leaves and I'm going to put half of them into the cider, and I'll explain how that all works in a minute. And the rest I'm going to stuff into the inside of the bird. Now we take that part of the poultry roaster, pop it on top. You'll see it's got holes in it, and the idea is that the barbecue warms up, the chicken's roasting, but the cider and the sage infuse the chicken with the cider evaporating, and the sage being in the cider creates the steam coming out, basically cider and sage, making it more complicated than it needs to be. Now we pop the chicken on, which is the fun part. There she is. Simple. Right, there you go. Chicken's on. A few turns of salt and throw it onto the bird, because I forgot to do it when it was laying on the board. But this works just as well. I'll be adding in the potatoes a little bit later, because they'll obviously cook quicker than the chicken. A few turns of pepper as well. And the last thing I'm going to do is add a little bit of cider into the tray around the bird. So again, there's even more cider flavour going in and around the bird. The final thing to do before we pop the chicken on the barbecue, and the coals are ready, is take the plug and pop it into the neck of the chicken like that. And that stops all the... That's Nero the cat saying hello. That stops all the evaporated cider from escaping out of the top of the bird, and basically steams the bird from inside while the bird's roasting outside as well. So the coals are ready, as you can see, and we're going to pop them into the Weber. We're cooking using the indirect method, and I'll show you what that means in just a moment. Swing the grill around, open the sides so that I can tip my coals in. I've got coal holders on the sides, cheap, one's not the posh, one's the regular. In goes the charcoal. So what I mean by indirect is we're going to be cooking in that area there, and the coals are down the sides. So there's no direct heat coming up from the barbecue onto the chicken. And it's indirect heat, and essentially we're roasting the chicken. Well, we are roasting the chicken. So the barbecue's been heating up for a couple of minutes. As I've said previously, what you want to be doing is getting the barbecue up like an oven, like a preheat oven. So once the charcoal's ready, you put the charcoal into the barbecue, then you put the lid on, and you let the whole barbecue, the dome, heat up so that you've got heat all around whatever you're going to be cooking. So now we're going to pop the chicken into the barbecue. I've got some sage from that we picked at the allotment. I'm not going to put that directly onto the coals. You don't have to do this. This is just an added extra. I'm going to put it over here so that it roasts itself and eventually will dry out and start smoking and smoke the chicken, so flavour will come from the outside as well as the inside of the bird. But you don't have to do that. Right, there's our chicken, ready to go. So, let's cap the lid on and see you for an update shortly. Well, not shortly, in about 45 minutes. The chicken's been in for about 40 minutes or so. I'm about to add some Jersey rolls. I've cut up some Jersey rolls. They're in season at the moment. Beautiful potato. They roast really well, especially in the barbecue. I've tossed them in some olive oil, some sea salt, and I'm going to now add them to the poultry roaster and see how everything's going in here. Chicken's going well. If you have a look at the sage, it's all dried out, and so shortly it'll start smoking, which is exactly what I want. Anyway, here we go, let's add the potatoes. This chicken is a free-range chicken farmed in Arlington, which is less than 5 miles from here. The chicken comes from our local butcher, Davies and Sons, family butchers, who are less than 100 metres from us. We're very, very lucky to have a butcher on our doorstep who does fantastic local meat. All their meat is traceable, and you should be using your local butcher for all your meat purchases, because no one knows meat in preparation better than a proper qualified butcher. The moment we've been waiting for. The sage is now smoking, as you can see. So the chicken and the potatoes and everything is being smoked by the sage that is now smouldering on the barbecue, but isn't over direct heat. So it took a long time, it took 45 odd minutes to get going, but it's going, and it'll add hopefully a lovely subtle taste of sage to the outside of the skin of the chicken and to the potatoes. Looks good. See the steam coming out of the neck, and see how the neck plug has been pushed out by the steam. Let's get this inside to rest. Right, I've brought the chicken in, now to get it off, and into the pan, cover it full to rest for at least half an hour. Oh. As you can see, it's falling apart, which is exactly how we want it. I'm going to pop the potatoes back in the barbecue to crisp up a bit and leave this to rest for at least 30 minutes. Forgot to mention, cover with foil while it rests. Shiny side facing the chicken. so the warmth is reflected back in on the bird while it's resting. And while the potatoes are crisping up outside and the chicken is resting, Bev is making her world famous broccoli slaw. The potatoes are off the barbecue, crisped up really nicely. Chicken's been resting for 35-40 minutes. The potatoes went onto the barbecue about 10-15 minutes after I started resting the chicken because they need to cook for about 20 minutes. And now we're ready to plate up. And there we have cider and sage infused roasted chicken with roasted Jersey Royals and homemade salads.